Hi, I'm Mike Vatalaro, Executive Editor of BoatUS Magazine. We're here today to open up this twin-engine 32-foot cabin cruiser, and to do so we're going to follow our BoatUS spring launch checklist. The checklist takes us point by point through the major systems of the boat and helps us get the boat on the water safely. You can find it at BoatUS.com/magazine. So let's get started. Take advantage of the boat being on the hard to check fittings, zincs, and running gear. Plastic fittings near the waterline are a hazard. UV damage can make them crack, and oftentimes they'll crack on the inside where you can't see or reach. Make sure you have a small light and you can look inside and examine for any damage. Plastic fittings such as this should be replaced with bronze or Marlon when you have the opportunity. I'm underneath the starboard side shaft now. Before I crawled under here, I made sure the boat was properly blocked and gave it a good shake to make sure nothing wiggled. Now that I'm down here, I want to rotate the shaft, make sure it turns freely. I want to check my zincs to see if any need replacing. I'm going to give the shaft a pretty good tug here to see if the cutlass bearing is showing any signs of wear. And I'm going to check my raw water intakes to make sure that they're free of barnacles or other growth. Okay, I want to examine my Seacocks now, so I've already loosened my hose clamps. I'm going to slide those back out of the way. I'm going to give that hose a good twist and pop it off. Now I want to cycle the Seacock to make sure it moves freely. And then once it's open, I want to get my light out. I want to sight through it and make sure there's no fouling or anything else that would obstruct the water flowing to the engine. Okay, our batteries have been installed, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop the caps and make sure there's plenty of fluid in here. We want our electrolyte to be topped off before the season begins. So I've got my light. I'm just going to look in each chamber and make sure I can spy electrolyte just below the top of the cap. If any of them are low, I'm going to replace with distilled water. But this one looks good. Okay, I'm just going to check the functioning of the bilge pump by manually activating it. Okay, while I've got the engine compartment open, I'm just going to give it a quick once over, checking belts and hoses, making sure that nothing's become cracked or brittle over the winter. So I'm just going to give these all a good squeeze, make sure there's no points at which I can feel my fingers pushing through, and then I'm going to check the tension of the belts on all corners. Those look pretty good. Especially paying attention to my fuel line hose. That's the last thing we want to find out has been damaged. So we checked our nav lights, and lo and behold, the stern light isn't working. But before I run off to West Marine, I'm going to pop off this lens, pull the bulb out, and check the connections. An old yard guy once told me, things don't break over the winter, they just corrode. I'm working the wheel back and forth to make sure the control cable is free, but if you have hydraulic steering, you'll want to do this as well. And then carefully inspect each hydraulic ram to make sure there's no signs of hydraulic fluid leaking. Perhaps the most important item on our spring launch checklist is to check your safety gear. So I've got my inflatable life jackets here, one of my regular life jackets here, plus my flares. With the inflatables, I'm going to open them up, go and find my cylinder and check that they show green, meaning they're ready to go. Put that back together neatly. On my regular life jacket, you can see that I've added reflective tape and a strobe light, so I just want to try to go ahead and activate that strobe. And as you can see, my batteries are dead, so I need to put AA's on my shopping list. My flare box, I want to go through here and check the dates on every flare. This one expired last season, so now I've got to take it out or mark it as expired and put it out of immediate reach. As you can see, I've stored many expired flares, but I also have up top in the tray my ones that are still good. This one says June of 2013. Well, we've got a good start on our pre-season checklist on this cabin cruiser. If you're a boater that owns a stern drive boat or a sailboater, there's special sections of the checklist that apply to you. See more of those at BoatUS.com/magazine. We figured out the items we need to address before we can launch this boat, but otherwise we're good to go. So So I'll see you out there on the water. Have a great season.